Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm on Chocolate and we've got longtime fools Matt Frankle and Rick Manares giving a 1 to 10 rating to a top 200 stock in the primary hidden gems database. It's Clear Secure, ticker symbol YOU. First, we'll rate the strength of Clear Secure's business, including factors like industry and competition. 10's invincible, 1 is hopeless. Matt's got a 6. Rick, you've got a 7.
Yeah, so there's TSA, there's pre-TSA, then there's what I call pre-TSA. Clear Plus lets pre-screen members whisk through security at 59 airports for $209 a year. It also works at a handful of sports stadiums and arenas. It competes against the larger and much cheaper pre-TSA and global entry, but Clear Secure still has 7.7 million active members on its platform.
Yeah, so I gave it a 6, and I feel like that was kind of generous, honestly. I struggle to see the value in the product. I can guarantee you there's a whole lot more than 7.7 million people who have TSA PreCheck. It comes free. Clear comes free with some high-end credit cards like the Amex Platinum, which has millions of subscribers. But without that, I can't imagine paying $209 when PreCheck works fine for a fifth of the price and a lot less hassle. No real competitors other than TSA, but there's a reason for it. It's not someone that I would want to start a business to go against.
I mean, it makes sense if you travel for work and your work pays for it. Beyond that...
Sure, or if Amex pays for it.
Right, exactly. But someone else paying for it. For management, 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson, Matt's at a 5, Rick, you're at a 6.
Yeah, so Karen Seaman Becker has been CEO for more than 15 years now. She's not the reason I went with a 6. The next 4 most important leadership positions all joined the company in 2025. The Chief Product Officer in February, the President and the CFO in March, the Chief Technology Officer in September. The next 5 executives came aboard in either 2024 or 2025. If I'm hungry for turnover, I'll just hit up the Arby's drive-thru and grab an apple or a cherry one.
Well, it has been a revolving door, and for a reason. I mean, 11% total return since it went public in 2021. Now, it was part of the SPAC boom, and it was kind of pumped up a little bit at that point. But even so, it went public at a time when no one was flying, and it's delivered an 11% total return since then. Inexperienced leadership, other than the CEO, like Rick mentioned, management hasn't exactly done a great job, which I think probably has something to do with them overhauling the leadership team. Not sure if the CEO should have stayed or gone after performance like that. But I give it a 5. It's nothing terrible, but nothing that stands out to me either.
I know, 11% total return over 4 or 5 years in the SPAC space. That might be top quartile.
That's fair.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Matt's at a 7. Rick, you're at an 8.
Yeah, so even in 2020, when the pandemic slowed air travel to a crawl and sporting events had virtual fans, revenue rose 20%. It did dip to 10% the following year, only to spike 72% in 22 when revenge travel got us on the move again. Businesses slowed every year after that, but it's still respectable. Trailing revenues up 18%, rising 16% in its latest quarter. Some metrics are decelerating to even lower levels. Bookings just rose 14% in its latest quarter. Its active membership base has slowed to 8% year-over-year growth. Annual retention rates have fallen below 87%. After a couple years of losses coming out of the pandemic, Clear has been profitable for 3 years with a net margin above 20% these past years. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so Rick mentioned that they did grow their subscriber base in 2020. I believe that is when Amex added them as a benefit. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I could be wrong on that, but I gave it a 7. The primary reason it was that high is because their balance sheet's fantastic. They have $530 million in cash, no debt, reasonably strong revenue growth, great margins, 27% net margin, 86% gross margin over the past 4 quarters. Their business honestly just doesn't have a lot of overhead. Sub 90% retention rate and a single-digit membership growth rate, that is not a recipe for long-term financial success. So if that continues, this is going to be a declining business.
All right, Matt, let's talk valuation. How well will Clear Secure's stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
So I said 5 to 10%, essentially market perform. Might surprise you being that I've had kind of a pessimistic tone so far. I did say a safety score of 5. I don't see this as a must-have product yet, but it's heading in that direction slowly but surely. Rick mentioned that it's usable at some stadiums. We were talking before that we recorded. If they, bring it to places like Disney World and let me skip the security lines and things like that, and you might have me as a customer. But if you can make a value case to the general public like that, this could end up being a big winner. But as is, I don't really see those metrics as being too encouraging with retention and growth rates for the long-term success.
I went a little more optimistic here, 10 to 15% 5-year returns, annualized, safety score of 6. As a fan of clever ticker symbols, I really like Clear Secure's choice, YOU. But in the profound words of the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want. There are some welcome valuation trends here. Analyst estimates keep inching higher. Revenue and earnings are expected to rise 13% and 24% respectively in 2026. The forward earnings multiple is reasonable in the low 20s. I went lower on safety. Its financials are strong. Its balance sheet is solid. It's just an overall risky business model at the mercy of changing security protocols or a global shutdown for air travel. But investors and potential investors, if you try sometimes, well, you just might find you get what you need.
Thank you to both Rick and to Matt and the Rolling Stones. They've given Clear Secure an all right overall score of 6.4 out of 10. Rick prefers Airbnb as the top it, a ground option once you've done your air travel. Matt prefers Clear Partner American Express, which you mentioned earlier. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Payoneer. Till then, Fool on.